start session. I see you have 25 slides or something. No, it's only 5 minutes.
Don't worry.
Do you need a pointer?
Yeah. Don't worry. I'm getting warning. I have 25 slides, but don't worry. I put time limit of 4 seconds on some of them. No, don't click. I'm clicking the link. All right. All right. So you're going to struggle to take pictures because they are 4 seconds, some of these slides, but they're all on the internet. So just go to the URL you see in the bottom there. And if we can just click that button. So I'm Stian Soiland-Reyes from Manchester, and it's not actually full screen. Any Mac person will help me? Went the full screen. Oh, it's a magic, it's a new key. Okay, so just an annual reminder, don't forget the FAIR principles. It's not just those 4 letters. Go look at the actual principles. It's about identifiers, metadata, registering and indexing these things. Go look at their actual principles to read, right? And you need to be able to retrieve them with open protocols. The metadata needs to be accessible even if the data are not. This is like just a few years ago, right? And you need to use a formal language for your knowledge representation. We heard about that in the knowledge graph. The vocabularies themselves should follow FAIR principles, and you should obviously reference other metadata using the same. And for usability, you need lots of attributes for that purpose. Data license, provenance, where they come from, and follow the community standards. So reproducibility, we're still not able to do it. So you see here in Nature how it still is a problem today. And just in the same issues, I looked at a brilliant article about someone doing metagenomics, and they've done the work. Look, this is all the reproducibility section. It's brilliant. They've even done the reproducibility study themselves. But I cannot execute that. That's like a whole page of text. There's no run button on it, right? This is 2019, people, right? We've been banging on this for 10 years now. We've been trying to promote this idea called research object, that you package up these things that you need for reproducibility, all your data sources, and so on. But crucially, it's not just putting it in a box. It's to link them together, to describe what is what, so the computer can also understand some of those things. So we're doing a bit of a reboot. In a sense, we pushed FAIR too far, and we used 20 standards, so that was a bit too difficult. So we have a reboot now called Crate, and that's what I'm talking about today. So what we're using is JSONLD, as you just heard. So that is a very popular format on the web, used by schema.org and Google and so on. So it's 1 million flies can't be wrong, right? And we also know about bioschemas extending this. For instance, they've helped to evolve the dataset type. And I'm not going to forget Prov, which I helped make. This is also a simple model that we want to keep in mind as a good model to not throw away. Now, I want to show you a bit about how we do use this in a dataset. So basically, it's that you record the basic data about the dataset as a group, and also for each individual files in there. And there's simple things like date description creator, but then also typing and formats and links to where things come from. So this is something called a data crate, which has now evolved to Crate. And crucial on the top there, it says a link to download as a JSONLD format. And there's also a check this crate, which currently is done in JavaScript, but we want to use that thing we just heard of, which sounds brilliant. Now, underneath the hood, there's some JSONLD, scary, there's some JSON, right? But it's quite simple because it's just a bit of listing of all the files. Of course, you need that. But then, crucially, for each of those, you give them a tiny bit more data, right? Which format is it? What's the license for this particular file? Because it might be a mix, right? It might not all be the same. Might be places where things come from. For instance, metagenomics, you're sampling things in the water. That's an important place where you've gone to. People, hopefully with a better identifier than that, ORCID if you know. And you can also talk about actions, things that have happened. So that's the provenance. So that's what we're struggling a bit with now, is how to map prov with these actions and so on. Anyway, so packaging up, we're using Bagit, which is a well-established archiving format used by digital libraries. Galaxy now supports Bagit for exporting the whole workspace. And so we're saying that's no longer our concern. That's just a way of making sure all the files are there, the checksums are correct, and they might or may not be remote, but at least they are together. But there's no information about what they do or what they are, and that's where we come in by the new file, the metadata JSONLD file there. But it might be hard to write these JSON files, right? So we want normal users also to make this without having this particular software. So maybe they just want to write a CSV file. And there's a nice tool called Calcite, which will generate the JSONLD for particular data types. For instance, here is listing the creators, right? So you can give the name and so on. But it could be a more complex scenario, like from the European Open Science Cloud, where we have gathering all these workflow systems, Galaxy and Explanime, and we want to put them in one big federated registry, linking to where they already are, but we want to describe them, use that little thing in the middle there, research object and CDRL, to build what is my experiment 2. So the people who've been for BOSC for a year might remember my experiment. So this is a new federated model we're moving to. So basically that's the idea, that we use the RO crate as the glue for all these things, files you might have with you, but also external things. And then you can package it up, you can put it in Synode, make a DOI, but we can also catalog this and discover them. And that's why you need all those crucial metadata you put in earlier, because otherwise you can't find it again. So I think if you found that as interesting, it's time to join. So we heard about that 1.0. We're still not quite there, so we're on 0.2 now. And it's because we set ourselves a deadline for October. And so there's still time to come and try to suggest your favorite property to go in. And here's the team. You can join us. We have a call every month. It's tomorrow night to be compatible with Australia. So very fun. Bring a glass of wine if you like that. Come and see my poster. It's poster 32. And here's a shameless plug for the CDRL Birds of a Feather, which is starting in not many minutes from now. Thank you.
Okay, maybe the last 4 speakers should stay close to the mic, either over there or here, to answer questions. Let's see if we have any.